Online security has been in the spotlight a lot lately, with a lot of South Africans getting emails from people pretending to be their banks. So these are the emails you get that look like they're from ABSA or FNB or another bank, and what's really happening is that somebody's trying to get access to your electronic banking, and I'm sure I don't need to explain to you why they want to do that. Now, there's lots of ways that you can avoid it, and I think South Africans are pretty well educated when it comes to these phishing attacks. You'd have to be pretty stupid, actually, for somebody to get your details. But let's go through some of the security tips anyway, and let's talk about what's happening in your browser when it comes to online security at a financial institution you can trust. Now, the first tip is fairly obvious. If somebody asks you for your username and password in an email, it's not really your bank, because they'd never do that. A less obvious attack is where they send you a link to follow to your banking website and they try and get your username and password there. So tip number one is never follow links in emails. If you want to go to your bank's website, go into your browser and type in the URL www.fnb.co.za or absa.co.za directly. Never follow links to a banking website. So now the technology that's used by banks to protect your online transactions are fairly robust, and they're built into your browser. And there's a nice South African story there as well, because of course Mark Shuttleworth and his company Thought were instrumental in creating the very fundamentals of how online security works today. So in just about any browser you use, whether it's Safari or Internet Explorer or Firefox or Chrome, you'll notice there'll be a little lock somewhere when you go to a secure website. So I'm using Safari at the moment on my Mac, and I'm using the FNB website as an example purely because they're my bank. So in the top right-hand corner of the Safari browser, there's a little lock. And the fact that it's closed means that I'm on an encrypted website. Encrypted means that the information being sent from me to my bank and vice versa is being scrambled up. My browser knows how to make sense of it, and FNB systems know how to make sense of it. But if somebody intercepted our communications, it would be very difficult for them to decrypt what was going on. So I see the lock and I know that. So if I click on this lock, it's going to show me a certificate. And that certificate's been awarded to the organization whose website I'm visiting by a third party that verifies their identity. So if I click on details on FNB certificate, I can see that it's been issued by Entrust.net, and they're a secure service certification authority. Mark Shuttleworth's Thought and the company that owns it, VeriSign, are other examples of these. I can also see that FNB is in fact in South Africa, their locality is in Sandton, and I can see other details about the organization, both FNB and the company that verifies their identity. So these certificates are used to guarantee the identity of the organization you're dealing with, and you can also see whether or not the certificate is valid, which could also be quite important. Now, these identification certificates are fundamental to online transactions, and if you see that little gold lock and you inspect the certificate, you pretty much know that you're dealing with a safe website, because your browser company, so Microsoft in the case of Internet Explorer, or Apple in the case of Safari, or Google in the case of Chrome, build these certification frameworks into their browsers. And if you follow all of those very basic tips, you should be pretty safe doing banking and other transactions online. I'm Simon Dingle for fin24.com.